Might be up. We're close to being up. We're live. Hey. Wow. Sorry, it's been a busy few weeks. I've got a heap of stuff here. And if you've read the description, you know exactly what tonight is all about. So good luck to everyone. This is the show. These are the shoulders of the new Series Dalek that I started working on in 2018. And I took long service leave to finish it. And here it has remained. So I don't have any hard and fast goals about when it's going to be finished. I just want to get the thing finished. At the moment, I'm trying to fill as many imperfections as I can in these fiberglass shoulders. I'll tilt it down so you can see what I'm talking about. There's a lot of imperfections. There's a massive hole there that I'm going to try and address tonight. Basically, what happened when these were made, the gel coat was spread in the mold. The fiberglass mat went in the mold, but there was little to no resin on some parts, so the mat was still dry, and that meant it just pulled away from the gel coat. So that's what's happened here. I actually had to go back. This is in 2019 before I moved, and I had to remove or add resin to this fiberglass matting, so then hopefully filler will stick to it, because I was filling it and it was just moving and falling out because there wasn't anything rigid for it to stick to. Today I spent most of the time on the top edge here, on the top surface, and I also went through my 3D printed parts and found all the slats that are going to go on here. And that's why these don't have to be absolutely perfect. This surface in here in particular doesn't have to be great. I mean, if I had to, I could probably cover that up with a slat. But there is a big one that goes on there in the middle there. But I'm actually printing out a curved one of these. It's been a few years since I printed these, and my 3D printing skills have improved a lot since I printed these. So some of these will be okay. Others, not so much. Some will just go in the bin, and I'll reprint. That's probably one of them. So that's kind of where we're up to. Why the sudden need to do this? I'm just going to move this other tripod out of the way. Why the sudden need to make a move on this now? Well, a couple of reasons. One, lots of other projects are now done. The event that we did last week is done. And unfortunately, at the event last week, the other Dalek sustained quite a bit of damage. So it made sense to say, well, you know what, now is the time to get this one out of mothballs and continue on the work with it. I've got a travel case full of these 3D printed parts and ice storm parts and neck blocks and all kinds of stuff that I've made for it in the time. Other bits that I've been given, and of course now with, like I say, with 3D printing, a lot of other parts are becoming available. People are redesigning them, doing a better job. Here's one I found. This side in here, it obviously failed, so that's a bin job as well. Probably along with that one, but I'm not quite ready to throw that one away yet. Although I am very concerned about the hoarding mentality, so you never know. I might just snap tonight and throw things away. But it did, become very clear that Colin needs to retire and that Frank needs to take over and start doing its part. So just give me a minute while I start to move things around. I did have another job that I did today with the crucifix that I was refurbishing. I do have some gel coat repair, but I think this other filler that I got will be better. Talking to someone that knows about these things. The other filler I've got is actually fiberglass reinforced filler. So for big areas like that, and I have been reading about it online, it's probably better for those big patches. I do have a bit of wax and grease remover that I found. Also found my original Cybermat template. So that's probably something that I should get into CAD and start trying to make, so I could 3D print the bases for the wheels and stuff. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Then I could add it to the files that are available online for that. I do have a heap of rubbish in here that I need to throw away. The only trouble I'm having, and I'm experimenting with super glue for where I find any hollows that I can't fill because I can't get resin into them. I'm wondering whether dribbling some glue over the unresined matting will actually work. What was I getting to? Don't remember. I've got so much junk in here. I am trying really hard to clean up. I don't like having a lot of mess around, but I also understand that part of having a workshop is that jobs get messy. I think one of the things that really was doing my head in on this job is I didn't have any sort of tools that I could smooth this over with. I've been using a range of sort of scrapers and stuff, and having to cut and scrape off the putty from them after I'm done. But I think what I'm going to need to do tonight is actually mix up the filler and then just get a gloved hand and just push it in, actually physically push it through into that hollow and get it cleaned up that way. I don't see it happening any other. I think that's the only way I'm actually going to get this done effectively. And knowing that there are so many other parts that I'll need to fill and sand. We also had a minor fire hazard with Davros at the weekend. The wires on this connector were stripped and were sparking against each other, which isn't so bad in itself. But what powers Davros is a lithium-powered jump starter pack. So if you think about things that you don't really want to have shorting out, lithium batteries are one of the things that you really don't want to be shorting out that much. So yeah, I've also got this is very old now. I'll probably have to reprint this too. This is a 3D printed ring gear to go inside the dome, so that the dome will actually drive itself around. I've got all kinds of bits out here. It's all out. And I actually have the head there, the neck cage that I need to spray because I've got a lot of exposed MDF. I'm also just going to move this overhead camera down that I keep banging my head on. And if you've got any recommendations for a cheap camera, put them in the comments. And I mean cheap, like under $300 cheap. I just had one. I've been using a secondhand iPhone. While no one in the family has needed it, now someone in the family needs it. I don't have a camera anymore. So that's also contributed. So I've got the GoPro, or the knockoff Go. Well, it's not the knockoff. It's the what is it? It's the DJI Osmo action camera. The only trouble is when you film at anything over about 20 degrees, it overheats. So filming in a shed in summer, because it's bloody cold in Australia in the winter. Well, no, it's not cold in Australia. It gets too cold to really do much in the winter anywhere, and so you think, oh, I'll save that for the summer. But when you save it for the summer, you then realize it's turning itself off. You can see the blade putty has sort of started to fill in some of the holes, so I'm quite happy with that. I just don't have a good method for sanding. That's probably my big thing. I either don't have the patience or I don't have the method to sand this down. Like, I know this bit down here is really, really low, but there's a piece up here that's still quite high. It's just a really big learning curve for me. I'm just going to get a cloth. Big cloth. I really didn't want that big. All right. Cutting up some cloth. I'm getting some cloth so I can apply some wax and grease remover over here. And there was another sizable one that I need to try and find. I think it's actually on the side of this gun box here. Yeah, there's that one there. If you can see that one down here, there's quite a sizable gape in there. So really the areas I need to focus on are the side, the bottom belt, the bottom edge of this belt here, this edge here, because that's all going to be seen. The front gets seen. Obviously, the front of these, a hole gets cut out in them, so I don't have to really be too fussy about them, but I'd rather fill in around the edges now while I've got like a reference edge to work from. So I'm going to have a go at cleaning up this bit and cleaning up this, and then seeing if I can mix up some filler. And the other thing with mixing filler, this is all reasons why I'm terrible at this. When I mix up filler, I often mix up too much, and I often probably mix it with too much catalyst, or I end up mixing with not enough catalyst. And both of those are bad circumstances to be in. And then the other thing is I often end up trying to, you've got a bit of filler left and you don't want to just throw it away. So you want to say, okay, what can I keep going with? What else can I do? When really you need to just be saying, well, that's it. I've got that bit. That's all I need done. So I'm going to try to force as much in as I can there, just with my fingers, wearing a glove, and as much as I can in down there with fingers. And I don't know how to go. It might go all right. Probably the rest of the time, I'm going to get some blade putty then and just go around this top edge and just fill in what I can. So I'll try and clean that off as well. Because the other thing is you sand it all back. I spent a lot of this morning filling this, and then most of the afternoon sanding it all off, which is a bit of a pain, but there you go. But I'm only planning on filling tonight, no sanding, and see how I get on. Yeah, it looked nice and clean, didn't it? It clearly wasn't. I just don't have a lot of experience with this. That's really anything to go. I mean, really, all along here, there's a big hollow under here that could get done as well. I might push some of that in along there and just see if I can build that up. But the trouble is, where does it, I think it goes from about there to there, so it does need quite a lot. But a lot of that could get covered up. But the trouble is, what if it doesn't? So do I try and mark out where all the slats go and then do the filling and sanding? Or do I go, you know what, it's all important. I need to just make sure I do the filling and sanding correctly. Hard thing to worry about. All right, I'm going to use this wax and grease remover on my, this is a leftover tile from my bathroom renovation at my old house. And there's an email from work. It's 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, and a work email has just come through. And people wonder why people are leaving the teaching profession. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Right, I have gloves somewhere. I brought gloves in. Here they are. What's the Mortimer wires? Never mind, this will do. I've also got a heater going, and all the doors are shut, so I hope there's no nasty fumes on this filler. There probably will be some, but I probably won't be in here for that long. And it's a fairly, it's not an airtight box. It's a fairly big room. There's quite a lot of air in here. The heater is blowing some air around. I suppose if I needed to, I could put a fan on. I've got a fan over there that I could put on. So now the next section is just going to be me. Here, I keep looking out for myself on those, 5 YouTube woodworking channels that are under 1,000 subscribers that you should be watching. Yet to appear. Nice to see the thwacker though. The thwacker appeared in the new Fix It Fingers video. So well done to James and the crew. James and the Finger Crew. That's a bad name. James and the Finger Crew. No, it was really good. That was he did a video about making dice towers because he's a dungeon master, but in the vanilla way, in the socially acceptable way. So good for him. Well done being a dungeon master. I've lost things now. I can't remember where I put them. Where have I put? Oh, there's my thwacker. And I've also got some wet and dry. I'll have to lean in front. Sorry, you have to see my mug. I bought some wet and dry paper to go with my stash of wet and dry paper that I found out. Got my thwacker in case I need it. Need to bash anything together. Didn't need to use it on Jesus. He cooperated. Right. I've got a stick for ladling out the mixture. Shall I tilt the camera down again? Right, let's read the tin. Grind surface with a coarse 24 grit. Well, it's probably 1 grit in there. Knead the tube of harder until the concentrate becomes a smooth paste. Onto a solid, clean mixing pallet or board made of plastic or metal, but not cardboard. 1 part of hardener to 50 parts of acetone glass fiber filler by weight and mix thoroughly until an even color is obtained with no streaks evident. Usually my downfall. In order to ensure maximum adhesion, apply a thin layer of filler to the damaged area using firm pressure. Apply additional layers 3 millimeters at a time. Don't think that'll happen. 3 millimeters? That might be 3 millimeters and the rest. Working time is 5 to 6 minutes depending on temperatures. So I don't know whether I need to set a stopwatch for this or what. We'll see. We'll see, said Captain Optimism. Here we go. Let's open the filler. Oh, hang on. I need to knead this, don't I? Kneading. I've kneaded this before and then taken the lid off and it's gone over the thing that I was working on, which made me go, shit. And I wrote on my resume when I got my current job that, I've worked with fiberglass and resin, etc. Yes, I'm really good at it. Oh, it looks like snot. Okay. Well, here we go. Scheisenhausen. There we go. Yeah, that's about right. Now, what I've been told, everyone's got their expert opinion. Everyone I ask has got an expert opinion about how to mix this. Most of them say just put a stripe. Oh, fuck. See, this is going to explode. Oh. I say just put a stripe two-thirds the way along it, right? Is that about 2/3 of the way? Maybe a bit more. Let's see if that's good. Okay. Might need to double glove this, I reckon. What do you reckon? Oh, I see a bit of red down there. I see red, I see red, I see red. And other hits by random Australian hits. What do you think? Oh no, still see some brown. I think this is thoroughly mixed. Put your vote in the comments now. It's like a very sticky snot ball. All right. Do we do the lower one first? So there's less chance of like... The instruction applying thin coats is now ringing in my ears. Do not be an impatient dick and apply it in huge fuck off coats. Apply in thin coats. Yeah. So there we go. Here's that thing where I try to do too much. So yeah, there's a bit of a hollow there. So can I get a bit more into there? Can you get a bit more up here? Ice it, as Anthony would say, like a fucking cake. See, it's sort of pulling away. That's not too bad. That's going okay. I don't think I want to use this on any other areas right now. So I just want to double check. This is kind of and then try and liberate some of this excess, because I don't know how easy it is to sand. I worry that how good it is to sand is what was that thing, like how much idea the Earth had that the Vogons were going to destroy their planet? Not at all. Now this is looking like it is starting to set up a little bit, so I need to try and find a way to sort of clean this off. And now would have been a great time to have made sure that I had paper towel, but I didn't. That's okay. We can work through this. This is the thing. This is my learning. I am learning by failing, so you don't have to. So the next time you see somebody doing the wrong thing, just remember me and just be grateful for us that learn by failure, so you don't have to fail, because I'm here to fail for you. My students don't understand that. They think success is the only option every time. No. Fail first. God, what are you doing if you're not failing first? That's what I'm thinking. So now I'll be able to turn this around, and then I've got a couple of other bits that I'm going to try and get with the blade putty again. I'm going to start up here again because it's really only for filling small holes, and it's done a reasonable job of that. But it's also, you put it on like you're icing a bloody cake, and then you take 99% of it off again. So I'm just going to find something to clean my hands with, and don't mind me. And then that was actually a really silly idea, because what I could have done just then is I could have used that as like a rubbish bag. But don't worry, this will do. I've got something here that I can use as a rubbish bag, but I'm now touching fiberglass resin with bare skin, which does not bode well for me. It usually ends in chemical burns, so I'll try to avoid that. I might get some more gloves. It is gassing quite nicely now. It's I might see if I can set up the little fan to maybe blow the fumes that way, just so that at least they're going out to. Maybe I should open the door slightly. How's that? I can. Sort of open that crack. And we'll see how it goes. It might be okay. It might not be. Who knows? I'll do that. I'll get a battery. I'll put the fan on. And hopefully this is mostly going to be taken care of now. Well, that didn't go right, did it? Let me just... No, the tissue is... No. Well, it is setting up. That's for sure. It is definitely setting up. There we go. I want to be able to use this one on the blade putty. Okay, I'm going to move that out of the way because I'm not mixing anything for the next round. And I'll try not to trip over the cable, because that would be disastrous. Properly disastrous. I'd even thought about using Agnew's water putty to try and fill this in, because I had been using Builder's Bog previously, and it just, like I say, I end up throwing away 90% of what I make. Anywho, jeez. A fan. You got a fan. That's why I have this fan. I don't just have it because it's hot in Australia. I have it because sometimes you do smelly jobs that have fumes. Move the tripod. There. I'll just gently blow the fumes away. In fact, I might even set it up over here so it is blowing the fumes away from me, not blowing them across me. I think that might be a better idea. Sorry, it's just I've got crap to move. Because I didn't think about this. I didn't consider air quality tonight in my poor decision making. I'm going to need that in a second. I considered other things. Air quality was not one of them. All right, there we go. There we go. That's. And now I'm going to stand there and it's blowing it right in my face. Okay, so now this is Septone blade putty, glazing putty. It's also called. It's basically a single pack product. On previous builds, I used a lot of just cheap 2-part body filler, which works really well. But like I say, I probably went through like 5 cans of this stuff to do really small jobs, because I would mix it up and throw 99% of it back away. I'll save the receipt. You never know. I might need bog for work for something. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the top, and where I can find some little holes and stuff, I'm just going to try and fill those in. Again, I'm just going to use pop sticks for this. Sometimes I'll try and thin it out with this, but to be honest, it's pretty good with a pop stick. It goes on all right. But what I do like to try and do mix it, but then also put the lid back on it before I shut the lid, or before I go and start working, so that right, there's lots down here. There's lots of little ones here. And it's so much as these aren't structural holes. In fact, they're not going to be seen. So people might be saying, well, why are you filling them? I'm filling them because this set of shoulders have caused me no shortage of drama. And it's not through them being bad. It's actually just through how I feel when I work on them, because I feel when I work on them, I end up complaining about them. And the people that made them did a really good job. You know, and I have to keep in mind the people that made them were helping me out, because I didn't make them. I accepted them, you know, because I was staring at, I'd started to make them, and I was having a horrible time with gun boxes and stuff like that. And when they said, would you like us to make you a set of fiberglass ones? I said, heck yeah. Because previously I'd been given some fiberglass ones and they were excellent. And look, 99% of the work is done on these. It is the last 1%. And probably for most people, if I painted these as they are, like with those two big patches done, I don't think there'd be any doubt that people would go, oh, it clearly isn't a Dalek. You know, they wouldn't be doing that. They'd be saying, oh, look at that nice Dalek. And they'd be right. I'm slightly concerned that it's called a new Series Dalek, but it's not really anymore, because we've had two different versions of Dalek since. It's no longer, it's like 3 generations removed from being a new Series Dalek. But like I say, every time I look at them, I want to minimize the amount of complaining I do. And every little hole that I see, you know, if I can do something to help minimize that, that'll be a good thing. So I'm just sort of thinking, where can I find all these little holes, and just to try and every little bit that I managed to do, will go towards it looking like a proper finished thing. So it sounds terrible that, I'm complaining about the people that made them. I'm trying not to complain about the people that made them, and it's not like I'm doing them a favor by not complaining about them. But it's that whole thing about gratitude, isn't it? That we forget what we're grateful for. We get caught up in the negativity of what's not right. So I'm trying to engage my hobby, exercise my gratitude, and also look, the small holes are the ones that are the easiest to fix. So when you get experience fixing the little holes, when you get to the bigger ones, it's not so much of a problem, because you've honed your skills. So that's the other reason that it just seems to me to be a good idea to work on fixing those little ones. And to be honest, looking at the top, break my stick. Looking at the top tonight, most of those little holes are fixed, So that's a good thing. And, you know, some of these things, even the ones that I go, oh, it's a big hole, I might sand tomorrow with some higher grip paper, and I'll find it was actually sort of something that I'd put there through overworking the filler. You know, it's like a scratch in the filler that was put there by me. So I do want to look at this top edge, because this top edge is going to be seen, you know, partially. And then my method for cleaning the scrapers is just with a chuck away Stanley knife and scrape it off, which is probably not doing the non-stick surface of this any good. But you know, I can see these holes are filling up. They are getting filled. That is a good thing. So it's just a matter of keep moving on. I'm going to have to buy more paddle pop sticks from somewhere. The other thing you can do with this filler when it gets a little bit tacky is you can sort of but then again, that's probably a bit too wet still. But there we go. So chat's bubbling away. Loads of people tuning in. I'm just going to keep. I know that people do watch it on delay. And the other thing I'm kind of having trouble lifting things at the moment. I injured myself in the glorious Sharks basketball grand final a few weeks back, and my elbow just isn't quite right yet. So I am finding myself, you know, I'm a little bit, when I have to stretch for things. And this week I had to help a workmate lift a very large, heavy toolbox. Not a great idea. But, you know, every little bit will help. So right now over here, I'm thinking I can do a bit up here. All right. I can do this bit. I can have a go at this, and I'll have a go at this. And I just have to keep remembering to mix up the filler, put the lid back on, and then my plan is every Sunday starts off with a big sanding session. I don't know when this will get finished. I say there's no hard and fast timeline for it. I hope it gets finished sooner rather than later, but there's no set timeline. It will get done when it gets done. The other thing I do find when I'm filling, there's lots of the other thing I find when I'm doing these kind of jobs, I often find that I've forgotten where I'm meant to be filling. So that's okay. That's all right. We'll just slap it in. That's where the icing it like a cake strategy really comes into its own, because everywhere you find some, just smack it in there. What's that? Smack it in there. Sand it off tomorrow. I'm trying to sort of sand it off with 180 or sorry, not 180, with 80 or 120. Today was 120. I think it probably took off a bit too much, or it took off a lot of the grey undercoat. The trouble with that is it makes it really hard to see where I still need to fill. So I'm debating whether I should maybe be going with 180 or something for the first sanding, but then this filler will sand off quite readily, so you don't want to clog it up. So I guess this edge still gets seen a bit, this bottom belt. So there's one here. Can I get to that? And I have to not be worried about, at this stage in my filling career, I need to not worry that I'm using too much filler. You know, try and conserve it, because it's like when we do, when we have students that first do woodwork, we use pine. We use pine because they're going to stuff it up. They're going to cut something wrong. They're going to need to redo it. So you just build that into the project and go, well, we'll use a readily available, inexpensive material so that when that happens, it's not a big deal, you know. I think this stick's nearly done too. So tomorrow will be bulk sanding in the morning, followed by brunch out. How's that looking? Spotty? I'll try and spin it around a bit, just so I've got it in the light. You know, there's a lot of bits down here. This is an area of concern. I think there's actually a hollow under here. There's a crack that's forming, and I think what's happened is there's a heap of a heap of dry mat behind it. So that's going to be a worry. Well, I say a worry. I need to stop saying it's a worry and just say that's something that I will need to address. Because there's no point in worrying about it. Worrying isn't going to fix it. And then just keep on icing. I think every time I fill in a hole, that's one more I'm not going to see tomorrow when I look at it and I don't get overwhelmed at how much there is to go. I think that's the reason why. And I was unable to eloquently convey earlier. we go. Look at this. Isn't this an exciting stream? You think, wow, he's really earning his money, really earning his subscribership here. But that's what it's all about. It's just keep going. Get the next bit done. Move on to the next part. I'll check on the printer shortly. It says it needs about 60 meters of filament to do the next part. And I don't honestly know whether I've got enough on the roll. So that'll be a fun thing to find out. So we'll see. I'm running out of sticks. I got one left. One left for tonight's session. So, you know, there's a lot of little holes up here. Looking down here, though, certainly in this light, this part looks okay. The gun box sides are definitely going to need attention. That's a certainty. Along here, these are little pinholes. They're going to get filled as I go with this pink stuff, and I've certainly got plenty left in the tin. So the fiberglass filler is going hard. It's already going hard to the touch. The only worry I have is how hard is that going to be to sand back, and we're going to sand through the gel coat trying to pull that back. Up here, it looks like it's done a pretty good job. I've tried to build it out quite a lot up here. Try and spin that around. I've really tried to build it up over here so that I can block that back tomorrow, and hopefully, I mean, I know it's not going to be the end result, but it should get me 90% of the way there to it being filled. And then the next job, I need to make a filling tool for inside of these. Well, not this one, actually, because I printed this one up a different way, but you can see it went wrong. But the other ones that I've printed have all got very distinct steps from where they've been printed, and they've had support material removed. So I'm going to need to fill that in. So I'm going to need to look for the best possible tool, which might even just be something like this, to sort of scrape the filler in there and see how much it will require. I'm guessing this will need 2-part filler. So that's where this good friend comes into it. If I can get away with 1 part, that'd be good, because it, takes one thing out of the equation. But of course, the thing it does leave in the equation is that sometimes I leave the lid off, and it goes bad, which is not a good thing. All right, what else has been happening? I thought about making some shirts and some beanies and stuff. I thought about putting the fake on them, so like the fake t-shirt, the fake beanie. I haven't really got anything more to do with that yet. I'm still coming back. We are edging closer to 500 subscribers. We're at 460 something. So as we get closer, it's getting closer to the 500 subscriber Thwacker giveaway. So that will go. I don't mind where in the world it goes to. I'll take the hit financially. That is the last of the original Thwackers. Not this one. This is Thwacker number 1. But this is the last of the original Thwacker handles that was laser cut. It's made of PETG, so it's actually got quite a bit of weight to it. They're usually used for knocking things off the 3D printer print bed, but look, it is what it is. It's a silly tool made famous this week in Fix It Fingers video. So if you haven't seen that one, check his channel out. And thanks, James, for using it in your video, even if it is in anti-theft blue. Yeah, this is the thing that was sparking. So I have ordered a new plug for it, and I'm planning on adapting this to the XT60 that I was doing last week, and hopefully I'm hesitant to put this on charge yet. It's measuring at about 11.5 volts, which is okay, but I'm hesitant to put it on charge properly until I can sit with it all, the whole time it's charging, in case we get that thermal runaway, in case it decides to puff up, because it is a, does it actually say what it is? No, it'll be lithium. It's a lithium cell. It's probably a couple of pouch cells, a couple of 7.4, so it's probably about 14 volts or something. But I just want to make sure that that's right before I do anything. I've checked the voltage on it with the meter, but that's my concern. And then I need to figure out a way to evenly space around these. So these, I'll spin this round on the side and you can see again. So these will go like that. So they will cover a lot of the crimes, okay? But I need to figure out a way to evenly space these around the Dalek. So I think I said there's 24 of them. And then this is a prime example of one that needs filling in there. You can see the little steps. So that's got to get filled, and then these have all got to obviously be filed a bit. And they don't have a perfect fit on the shoulders, but then again, people aren't coming up to you and complaining that it's not a perfect fit on the shoulders. It's whatever the fit is that you can get away with. It looks all right. I've certainly seen worse, but because I chose to 3D print them like that. But it does mean now when you look down here, kind of casts a shadow, so you can see that here, that is a hollow. If I push in with that, there you go. That's cracked. So I have to dig that out and fill that. And the issue with filling it is that, there it is. If I fill that with just plain car filler, it won't stick to the fiberglass that's not got any resin in it. So then I thought of, what if I put super glue on the resin, just on the fiberglass mat to make it rigid, and then the stuff could bond to the super glue. That's my idea. I don't know if it'll work. Gee, I really chewed these out. This is my printing from 2019. I started printing these, so my printing skills have come a long way since then. Be very interesting to see what the new one will look like with the support material on it. Hopefully I've turned down the support numbers enough that it should just work. And then I need to order lots and lots and lots of 5mm bolts to go on there. I might even do that tonight. And when I order bolts now, I had 5mm bolts. We just used them all on Davros the other week. So I'm going to order some new ones and some 5mm nylon, like plastic bolts and plastic nuts as well, just to try and reduce the weight. But there we go. There's been a bit of a gap. I think I've kind of taken the decision, because this is going to take so long and I can't keep putting it away and doing other projects that take a couple of weeks. I'm going to shelve other projects for a little while. I will still finish off the radio in the background, but in terms of trying to do a weekly video, particularly while I don't have a reliable camera at the moment, it just doesn't make any kind of sense to be able to do that. So my efforts are going to be shorts for little side projects, and then the Dalek build is going to be my main video. But no one wants to see a video about just sanding or just filling. Like people want to see a story. So I've been filming a little bit. I might even use some of the footage from this in the video about the shoulders when they get done. But until these are finished and ready for paint, there's not really anything that I can do as far as a video. So keep an eye out on the shorts. Hopefully that doesn't mean bulk deleted subscriptions, but if it does, I totally understand you. I feel your pain. And I'm going to try and fill that hollow tomorrow with some 2-part. And I mean, behind it, I think if I drilled down enough, I'd probably find something down there. There's a lot of resin over the top of the mat, but I'm guessing it just wasn't saturated. Anyway, that's it from me for this week. Check, the printer's still going well. That's it from me. So, until next week, keep your bananas where you can see them. Take care all. Have a good night.